How music criticism lost its edge in The New Yorker.
Mm. Have you read it?
Hello? Oh, you're there. Yeah, I
Yeah,
read it. Of course I read it. I read it like 3 times.
3 times. You thought it was that good?
Yeah. Well, no, I read it once, and then we were gonna do the podcast on it. I read it again, postponed the podcast, so I read it the 3rd time, just
Okay,
before we started talking.
very good. I read
So
it
I'm
once.
expert on this article. Once only? Oh,
Yep,
nice.
yep.
Amateur hour.
I guess I just didn't take it seriously
Damn.
enough.
Nope.
So,
Unlike
but
me.
what interested you about? Because you were suggesting we should talk about this topic.
Um, I think just generally that's how I've been feeling about criticism about most things, that everybody's being a bit too nice.
Mm. We need more
Yeah,
harsh
especially for
criticism.
music.
Oh yeah,
Not
you think
harsh
especially for
criticism, but
music?
nuanced criticism.
Hmm.
Oh, especially for music. Oh, definitely. Definitely.
I don't really. The
I
thing is, I don't
think
really follow that much music
generally
criticism. Yeah.
oh,
But yeah.
I do. I don't think I do. I don't think I follow criticism as much as I used to. Um, but I have noticed whenever I see, especially for like big album releases, you rarely see anything under like 4 stars. Everybody's just like, yeah, it's pretty good, no matter what it is. I think generally book reviews, especially book reviews in newspapers and stuff like that, you never see a negative book review.
Really?
If it's in the newspaper, it's positive. Oh, you never see a negative book review anymore.
I
Anything
mean, I
negative
did.
is ignored.
I,
Unless
I,
it's like, oh, then Dan Brown has a book out. We have to all say it's bad, which it is. But
I mean,
mostly, if it's a bad book, they just ignore it.
interesting. But I mean, I do. I don't. I thought maybe newspapers would still have like some sort of, uh, I don't know, ethics or something. But I feel like book reviews online are almost always positive,
Negative?
or
Oh,
no, no,
positive.
positive. Especially if they're big.
Oh,
Like the thing is, like smaller
mm.
channels sometimes have negative reviews, but I guess no one wants to hear it.
I don't know about that. I'd say video reviews
Hmm.
tend to be if you're seeing a book review, I tend to find that they're negative. If it's like a not professional, because that's how you get views as being negative, being like, oh, Light Lark is bad, like we need anybody to tell us that. Whereas in newspapers, it's kind of like anything that is genre fiction, they kind of ignore anyway.
Hmm.
And if anything is bad, they just ignore it. And if there's a big book coming out, they have to say something good about it.
Yeah.
That's
I
what I
mean,
find.
in that article, he also gave that example of everyone universally uh, critiquing Katy Perry's new album as like the worst.
Yeah. That was
Like so,
just like a cultural moment, like where it was acceptable to say you hated her.
well, yeah, but I mean, I think that's kind of the thing. Is like this uniformity of like what's everyone else
Mm.
thinking, and I need to say the same thing, kind of.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That
I
seemed
wonder.
to be more motivated. I'm sure the album was terrible,
Yeah, I didn't
but
listen
it
to it.
seemed to be more motivated by the cultural, conversation around Katy Perry at the time. She was kind of it was the time to hate her. It kind of reminded me of, do you remember like Pitchfork? They did this thing where they reevaluated some of their past reviews,
Yeah.
and it was basically they were just correcting kind of the mistakes they'd made, stuff that they said was bad and now was considered culturally relevant. It was a bit pathetic, actually. It was like stick by your guns, right? But they were like, okay, some of the stuff, and then also, oh, some people who had fallen from public favor, we have to pretend their art is bad now, which is, I think, what happened to how a lot of people talk about U2. Everybody
Oh,
kind of pretends now that U2 have always been bad. And it was like, no, they had great albums. And they did this to one of Grimes's albums, Our Angel, I think. Was it
oh,
Our
that's such a good.
Angel? But
That's a
anyway,
good one.
yeah, maybe it wasn't Our Angel. Maybe it was Miss Anthropocene. What's the other album called? Anyway,
I forget.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They gave it a good review, And then, like, 6 months later, she was now kind of like a pariah because of her relationship with Elon Musk. They were like, "Oh, actually, it wasn't that good." And it was like, "Yeah, it was a good album. You just don't like her anymore because culturally her favor has fallen," you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it must have been Miss Anthropocene.
Anthropocene, yeah. I couldn't remember what the name was.
Yeah. Let
It
me
was
see.
fine, yeah.
I've listened to some of those. Oh man. Oh yeah.
It's a good
Sarah
album.
really likes So Heavy
It's no
I Fell Through
R&B's.
the Earth. That's
Yeah,
really
it's a good
good.
album. She's a good musician.
I also like
She's a bit
Violence a
kooky,
lot.
but we don't have to pretend she's not. Yeah,
And
but we
we
don't have to
appreciate
pretend she's not
Power.
a good musician. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a good
well,
album. It does a good song.
yeah, I mean,
But now we have to
haven't listened to
pretend.
any of the other ones.
Uh,
Um,
it's a good album.
I don't know. I mean, I've only listened to those 3 songs, but they're all good. So I would assume it's good.
Mhm. But the article, it kinda goes through the history of, well, it's quite brief, but goes through the history of musical criticism and kind of says, kind of, hypothesizes why music criticism has gotten more positive.
Yeah, and it posted a few
You read it
different
as well.
things. I did, yes,
Yeah.
but perhaps our viewers
Well, I read
didn't.
it 3 times. Yeah. So, should I kinda sum it up a little bit?
Yeah, sure, if you want to. I have a couple of notes too, but yeah, go ahead.
Mm. So, it's kind of talking about how when music criticism first came out, it was very based on critiquing rock music,
Mm,
and that it was kind of presumed that if music was critically popular, it wouldn't be as commercially popular, and that commercial music wouldn't be as critically popular. And that in like the 90s and 2000s, it became a big thing to be outwardly very negative about pop music, and that that's kind of how some of the viral success happened for music critics would be to be having really scathing reviews. And they were giving
mm.
some examples of them, kind of scathing reviews that had come out. And then it started to change, and it was more about like reevaluating music that they thought was underappreciated. And that it was
But
called like poptimism, which is what you hear a lot of people talking about.
I mean, do you think this is also like broadly a generational kind of thing too? Like, I feel like Gen X has this image of always thinking everything sucks. You know,
Yeah, the
and
kind of disaffected
yeah, disaffected,
and
and
like
also like,
you're
oh, this
all,
is so lame, kind of.
yeah.
You're such
Well, I was
posers.
thinking about this
Yeah.
a little bit because it's kind of like I think you could frame the changing of like appreciating pop music from not appreciating pop music, and one of it is like in a positive way of like saying, say like a lot, Jesus, of saying we're appreciating something that was unappreciated before, and we're trying to be optimistic about things and like meeting people where they are. People like pop music, so we're trying to appreciate it as its own art form.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's kind of like it's very commercial music. And it's not like these people were the underdogs. They were just not critically successful, but they were commercially successful. And it's it's helpful for the music industry for everybody to be very, very positive about the big commercial albums that are coming out. And I was thinking about like in the 90s, the way people used to say somebody is like bougie, or, it would be like a negative thing,
Mm-hmm.
or like it would be like bougie is like you're like stuck up, you're a wasp, you don't get it. And now bougie is like, it always means it's like luxury, you
Yeah.
know? And it's kind of the changing of things, of like this let people like stuff mentality.
Yeah. That's true.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if that is related. Hmm.
I think it is a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I think like also like there's like a question: what is pop music specifically, anyways, right? Because it's kind of like it's
Mm.
pretty broad in a way.
Yeah.
Because like I mean, things like the Smiths or something like that, right? I mean, they were on top of the
Mm.
pops and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think, I mean, Top of the Pops was. Did you ever see Top of the Pops?
Yeah, like yeah, a little bit, but not obviously. I didn't live in the UK, so
Uh, well, that was kind of like a changing of the musical, musical, what's the word I want to think of? The
scene.
musical guide, the Top of the Pops
God.
thing. Yeah, the musical scene. It's like Top of the Pops. I remember my dad always goes on about Top of the Pops. And like back in the day, it would be pretty much anybody would go on there, and it was considered like the musical TV show. And then when I was younger, it was still on, but even a few years before I was watching it, it became very, very commercial. Like you'd see like
Mm,
only boy bands and stuff on there. So that was kind of a changing. Like in the 80s, to be on Top of the Pops was like a respectable thing.
right.
And
Okay.
then by
So
the
it's
time
more
it
like
was like
that the show kind of
1995, it was
changed.
Westlife and stuff like that. Yeah, and it was kind of like cutting edge, and then it became not cutting edge.
Hmm.
So the idea of pop was kind of changed as well in the 90s, probably.
But that's what I also think. Like a little bit, maybe the '90s is more of the outlier there. You
Yeah,
know, because when I
probably.
talk to like some like older people, they would also it's like, well, yeah, the Smiths are pop music. You know, like
Mm.
and
Well, I
and
think it's kind of like it's. Hmm.
and I'm like, and in the '90s, I think there was like this kind of pop music equals bad, like mainstream, like slop kind of. They wouldn't have used slop kind as a term, but that's kind
Mm.
of what they were saying. You know, it's like it's made for a mass audience that doesn't appreciate the artistry. You know.
Well, maybe it's kind of like a similar thing to what happened to films, where
Mm-hmm.
you hear people talk about films in the 70s and all the big commercially successful films would also be like the critically successful
Yeah.
films. And then the 80s, stuff like Jaws and The Goonies happened. And then there was a kind of split of what was popular critically and what was popular commercially. It's probably a similar thing that's happening with music, kind of fracturing of
Yeah, but
different
and
genres and
exactly,
stuff.
and it's kind of like going back, like like this kind of fracturing is what's being healed, sort of like whether it needs to be healed. But with this poptimism, for example, or also, well, with movies, I don't know, but like TV shows, right? Like a lot of the most popular TV shows are like also well acclaimed now.
Mm. I suppose if you want to be optimistic about it, that's what's happening. But
Well, I don't know if it's a
I
good thing or
don't
bad
think,
thing, but yeah.
yeah,
I'm just
I
thinking
don't
maybe the
think
'90s was more the outlier.
maybe.
Yeah.
But I think my thing with the music reviewing is that there's still harsh criticism going on, but it tends to be towards smaller bands, like mid-level bands. We can still be kind of negative about
Mm,
mid-level bands, but the big pop acts, especially like people like Taylor Swift and stuff,
yeah.
it's it seems like there aren't any negative reviews.
Well, I mean, that is one of the points the author also makes, right? Like that the large artists have these rabid followers who will attack you if you say anything negative about it. And one of the things he posits is it a guy or a girl that wrote this? I forgot. I don't even
That's
see
not
gender.
important.
Yeah,
That's not important.
exactly. I'm gender blind. Um,
Mm,
but it does sometimes help to know pronouns. Anyways,
yeah, for ease.
like he says, like a lot of the journalists who would write something who are usually like small small people, not small people. What is it? They might be small too, but they're not like super famous, right? Like they're writing for little money, like a review.
Taste or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and but they still get like targeted by these, you know,
Mm.
massive amounts of fans who are like, "I know where you live. I'm gonna kill you. How
Yeah,
dare
I'm
you
gonna
do this
send
to
you envelopes
Taylor?"
in the mail.
You
Yeah.
know? Like,
I think that's obviously a big problem,
yeah.
but, another thing about it is kind of like For a lot of these big artists, people will see like a 3 or 4-star review
Mm.
and think it's negative.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like impossible to give like a middling review anymore. It's kind of gone the same way as like video game criticism, where people will see anything below 80% as basically 10. You know, it's like a 3 star is the same as a half star.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what's happened with a lot of music. I rarely see a 3-star review for albums anymore. It's like we have to be reviewers of extremes because that's how you get attention.
Yeah.
It's
I
five
mean,
stars or it's 1 star.
that's true. Yeah, I guess you can. But the thing is, right? I mean, I talked to you about this before. Like, I feel like the star ratings just don't make sense for anything this
No.
broad. Because like you're just like
Yeah.
trying to make have like a framework. Like it's both too complicated and not complicated enough, right? Like if you really wanted to do this, then you would have to go like to thousands and thousands of different differences, you know?
Mm.
But like how do you compare, like if I don't know, what is it, like the how do you compare Citizen Kane to the Goonies to, I don't know what came out, like Star Wars to, like these are all completely different, and you want to rate them on the same scale for completely different things that you appreciated about them, you know I
Yeah,
think it's just,
obviously, it's a lot of the time, it's completely pointless.
yeah, which is why I think like basically everything 5 star or 1 star, you can kind of justify this because it's basically just like I thought this was good and I thought this was bad. And it's like, yeah, okay, that's this you can justify this somehow. I liked Citizen Kane, I didn't like Star Wars. I liked it, that's sort of
Mm.
possible. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree with that.
But still, I mean, people do want to
But
do ratings, and then like this kind of
yeah,
inflation of it is kind of strange because then it makes it even more hard to compare, because like exactly what you were saying, like if you look at like Goodreads or something like that, obviously Goodreads has a lot of problems, right? But
oh, yeah.
then you will have something like, I mean, I'm just making something up, like, but we both like Piranesi and think it's a really good book, right?
Mm.
And they're like 3.7 stars or something like that, right? Because there's people who are like, I didn't like this, I like this, or and give like a complicated and complex view of what they liked and what they didn't like, right? And there's no thing to like no social reason for giving high ratings, right? But then you look at, I don't know, Fourth Wing or something, and they're like, oh, five stars, or uniformly
Yeah.
5 stars. They're like, are you kidding me?
Well,
Like, obviously,
yeah.
yeah,
Well, this is the thing with, like, 5-star reviews and with Goodreads in particular, is that for certain categories of books, nobody is giving it but anything but a 1 star or a 5 star. Like, a lot of the time, if you go on Goodreads, the kind of sweet spot for an actually good book will be, like, 3.6 to 3.8 stars. That
yeah,
shows people have nuance, people have different opinions,
yeah,
it's, like, controversial or thought-provoking in some way, and if it's above, like, 4 stars, it probably means it's not actually very good because it's just like, "Oh, we have a general consensus, everybody likes this," and then you look at what it is, and it is, like, Fourth Wing or something like that, because nobody with any nuance of opinion is reading the book. It's everybody being like, "Best book ever, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars."
yeah, exactly, yeah.
But
No,
it's
I
like but I
found
feel
this
like
too.
that way about the music reviews. Is that sometimes if I look at an album and you look at all the reviews and it's like all 5 stars, I'm like, this is probably a good album, but I'm not sure it's a great album.
Mm,
You need a little bit of controversy
yeah,
around it. You need some sort of dissenting opinions. I mean, if my like ideal album review, if I go on and it's all 5 stars and like a few 1 stars, that shows something's controversial.
yeah,
It
some
shows something,
edges.
it's doing something that not everybody's gonna get. Like, one of my favorite albums is Spirit of Eden by Talk Talk.
Hmm.
Do you know this album?
I've
And
not
when that
no.
came out, it got oh, it's a great album. It got a lot of glowing reviews, and it got some really negative reviews, and it's one of those albums where, like, 10 years later, everybody's saying, "Actually, it was revolutionary. Everybody loves it." And everybody who didn't like it at the time didn't know what they were talking about. But,
Pitchfork
like, the fact that it
Pitchfork had
had a
to
few
change
pieces.
its.
Yeah. Well, it came out, like, in 1989 or something. But you know what I mean? It's the kind of thing, sometimes stuff that wasn't appreciated at the time will have a
Yeah, yeah,
reevaluation, and if there are some people who don't get it, sometimes that means it's better
yeah.
because it means it's complex,
It's a
you
girls who
know?
get it situation.
Yeah, and sometimes it means it's ahead of its time, whereas a lot of these albums that are coming out now, and it's like 5 star, 5 star, 5 star, maybe they won't age well because they were so appreciated in their time. It was just
Uh,
too
yeah,
obvious.
I mean, I do think so. I mean, like I do feel like they're. I mean, to bring it back to books again, right? Like there's all these books that are getting great ratings, where you're like, I don't think anyone will think about this in 20 years ever again.
No.
You know, like they're very much off the time, and then there's no reason why anyone would ever pick it up again. You know,
Yeah, no
and
staying
it's
power.
yeah. I mean, with music, I think it's even um more common, I guess, that like there's something that is not super appreciated at the time, but it just is so influential because there's this.
Mm, mm.
I think there's this like there's more of a difference, I think, between uh people who make music and people who listen to music than there is between writers and readers. I'm just gonna throw this out here, right? And so there's
Yeah,
this thing where like some people who make music are insanely inspired by like an album or like really like it or something like that, and it has like this
yeah,
massive influence, which obviously also happens with books to a degree, but it can't happen as much, I think, for a number of reasons. Yeah.
yeah. And I suppose the thing with criticism of books is that the criticism is also written like the book is, so they more like go
Mm,
together.
that's true. That's
You
true.
know, like a review is also a piece of literature.
Yeah, yeah. That was one of the points
Oh yeah,
the
that was in the
articles made here.
that was in the article as well.
Yeah, yeah.
But
But it's true, yeah. I
yeah, I
mean,
agree with
like
that.
it can be right. Like uh, potentially, like the review can be more artistically interesting than the book it's reviewing. Yeah,
Yeah.
by using the same
Whereas with
tools.
music reviews it's a bit different.
Yeah,
What's that saying? Writing about music is like dancing about architecture? Was that what that was about?
I
Maybe
don't
it was
know. It
something
sounds
else,
good
but
though.
it's a
Yeah, I feel
similar
like
meaning.
I've heard something like this. Yeah, this, this sounds like a pattern you could apply to different things. Yeah,
Yes. Pretty
but
easy to apply to different things.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah?
There were like a couple more things that the author of some gender said, which I think were interesting too. Like, so I think there's two more points
Mm,
that she made. Uh,
mhm.
what is it? So one is that like in the late, like so in 2010 onwards, everything kind of became like more moralized, right? Everything were like higher stakes, and it's like this is like a morally good thing or a morally bad thing. So, for example, he
Yeah.
said like this is a black artist, so they need to be pushed. This is a queer artist, you can't criticize them, kind of thing. Do you think that's a factor?
I think probably. I think it's overcorrecting of a type, obviously, because in the past, female artists and black artists, queer artists wouldn't be appreciated. So it's people kind of thinking they need to right past wrongs, and maybe in a way that's equally as condescending. Kind of like, oh, I'll give you a pass because I think you're in a minority group.
Mm.
But, like, obviously, it's good for critics to have that in mind, that they're wanting to be equal, but it is condescending in its own right.
I mean, I do think like, yeah, it is a bit difficult. Like, hmm. I guess what I'm thinking is like, obviously, a critic is also just a person, right, with their own tastes and like experiences, right? And so obviously, a
Mhm.
lot of art may not do it for them, but be very meaningful to someone
Yeah.
else. And so I think like the point is more, if there's more diverse groups of people reviewing and having that ability, then that would help. And then they could say it's like, well, this is a good one, this is a bad one, or something like that, rather than
Yeah.
like,
Well,
the white guy being like, yeah, this black queer woman doesn't speak to my experience really, or something like that. Yeah,
well, that would be, like, remedied by having a more diverse set of critics,
exactly. Yeah,
obviously. I don't think it's gonna be helped by the same white critics being like, "Oh, I'm gonna be less harsh on female artists," because that's not helpful, and it is condescending, as I said before, and it doesn't really help anything. It's not like getting new people into the field of criticism.
yeah.
It's just having the same people do a job insincerely.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know where I was like hearing about this, but some podcast I listened to was like also talking about this, how like it's obviously it's good if like, say, a newspaper editorial team, or like, the journalistic team is more diverse, right? But then like the
Mm.
application for stories should not be based on identity, you know? So
Yeah.
so you because like you're kind of making a mistake again if you're saying it, it's like, okay, black artists can only be reviewed by black people or something like that. Yeah, this is also not good, obviously, right?
Yes.
So it's
That's
kind of
bad.
like an institutional problem that you're then trying to fight with like specific rules that don't really make as much sense. Like, I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah. But okay,
Yeah,
so that was one
that's an
point, and
interesting
do
thought.
think that's one aspect. And then the other thing
Mhm.
was this, taste should just not be challenged. Like, tastes are uh, personal and don't yuck my yum. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think that was the,
I highlighted that because it's the kind of like, let people like stuff mentality, and
yeah,
it kind of goes against, in every way, the point of being a critic,
yeah. It's kind of like,
which is
well,
pretty funny.
I guess we don't need your job anymore. It's
Yeah.
like it should
You're
just be a
just
list of
coming out
things
to
that
say
came
everything's
out.
great.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And
And
everyone
if
goes,
you like it,
"Well,
you
if you
like it.
like it, we're not here to judge." Well, actually, you are there to judge. That's your entire
Mm.
job.
I do feel
Mm.
like people take criticism of things they like very personal sometimes. And I mean, maybe
Yeah.
that's,
Well,
yeah.
it's part of the kind of identifying with the things you like fandom mentality,
Mm.
which is, driving you to send bomb threats to people who negatively review Sabrina Carpenter or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
But I
I do
think
think,
that's Mhm.
yeah, I do think it's a bit of a, like it, both sides are kind of like doing this to each other. Because like a lot of critics are also like, well, if you like this, you're a stupid idiot and worthless.
Mhm.
And it's like that's also like, and
Yeah.
then like in return, someone might be like, you know, you can't, like, this is my identity. You can't attack me on that or something like that.
Yeah, I think people should probably kind of learn to appreciate criticism of things they like. I think a lot of people do feel that. You kind of if you really like something and you're not insecure about it, you can acknowledge its flaws or acknowledge how maybe other people wouldn't appreciate it. I think people should have my mentality
Mm,
of like, maybe this person is criticizing this because they don't get it, and I get it. You know, you can turn it into a positive for yourself. It's like,
yeah,
oh, it's so cutting edge that this critic doesn't get it on the level I do. But instead, it is kind of hurting people's ego to think that something they like might not be objectively good.
yeah.
Not that that's
I mean,
possible, but that's what they think.
yeah. I mean, I do think it probably has something to do with like not being confident in your own well tastes and
Tastes.
opinions. Yeah,
Hmm.
and if you,
And then
I
you
feel like
also
if you're
have
more
people,
secure, then
yeah.
you don't care, obviously.
I remember reading a lot of, who's that big critic? Robert Christgau? Do you know this guy?
Well, was he mentioned in the article? I think so. I don't know.
He
Knew them
was,
before.
I think.
I don't think
And you
I.
didn't know, well, basically, a lot of my research for albums when I was like 15 and I was looking up music to listen
Mm,
to would be going on Wikipedia and looking at the critical section, and they'd have a little stars rating. And he would be on every single album, his opinion,
mm,
because he was so prolific. And I ended up reading tons and tons of his reviews. And oftentimes, I do not agree with him, but I still enjoyed the reviews. He was funny to read,
mm.
and you can disagree with the review, but still enjoy it and still kind of get something out of it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, I do
People
think
are not appreciative of that, I think.
I feel like also like you can read like reviews of things you're like never going to watch or listen to and be get something out of this. Like, oh, okay, that's cool. That's an interesting like piece of art. This review. Yeah, I mean, I have to say personally, I basically don't. Maybe this is a bit of a confession for this podcast, yeah. But I basically do not
Mm.
read criticism at all. So
And yet you have an opinion on it.
yeah, I know. Just like one of those critics can just get an opinion on everything.
I like criticism. I like reading criticism. It's one of my top read things is reading criticisms. But I think for a lot of people, if you like if you like the artist to a parasocial level, in your mind, if you are attacking someone, you are protecting them
Yeah.
from the horrible, nasty critic who's probably being paid not very much, freelancer, and that it's just a part of the general fandom mentality now that you have to protect people from critics.
And I do think
So,
it's like so this is like more this identity based and like parasocial kind of way that people justify it. And I think I'm not sure if this is also a gendered thing, but I feel like during Gamergate, right?
yeah.
Like
Oh
the,
God, bring up Gamergate.
well, I mean it does kind of fit into it, right?
Yeah.
Um but like a lot of the arguments that they were making is kind of like, well, if you're criticizing this thing that I like, there will be less made of it, and I get less of it. And this is why you are being bad. You know, you need to stop this.
Mm.
I want more big titty video game girls, and if you criticize it, I get less of them.
Yeah, I think that was so like contradictory as well. The Gamergate thing is that a lot of these people were angry about the criticism because they thought they were being criticized because video games aren't art. Do you remember this big like video games
Yeah.
are art movement? And like you can't criticize video games because they're art. And it
Well,
kind of
that
reminded me
Roger
of the time.
Ebert, he really said in that one.
Yeah. But also like it reminded me of the time of like there was this big makeup is art movement, and like
Right.
people being on YouTube saying, "Oh, makeup is art, so you can't criticize it. You can't criticize makeup because it's art." And on
And you
both
can't
fronts, it's
criticize
like,
James Charles.
yeah, but on both fronts, it's like actually when things are art, they get criticized more because they're
Yeah,
art.
that's true.
It's like, there are whole fields of study for criticizing books because there are in criticizing films. If there's a lot of criticism going on, that's a sign you've made it. You know, if
But
there's
I think
if there's free
yeah.
free criticism and broad criticism of video games, it means it is art. Not that there shouldn't be any, and that means it's art.
Yeah, I mean, I do think this is like one of the parts of the movement, and often it is contradictory, and the same people hold it. But like, really, it's more of a consumer movement, right? Like the way that they're thinking of
Mm,
it is consumerism, really. And it's kind of like, I mean, a lot of like American activism is very based on consumer, uh, like choice, consumer, well, mostly consumer choices, to be honest. And
mm.
and so it's kind of more like whether it's art or not doesn't really matter. I just need more of it. Give me more for it to consume, and it's my right to consume it. Like as a free American, I have the right to buy terrible video games, and if you're being bad, they don't make more of them, and I can't buy them, and this is actually really bad. And so
Yeah,
it's more like
I
this
guess.
consumer mentality in
I
in that
suppose, but
sense.
I think
Yeah.
it's also a thing of like when people are criticizing critics of musicians they like, people kind of need to realize that for things to be made, there needs to be like an artistic, uh, an artistic talk around them, artistic criticism.
Mm.
There needs to be like a community of people speaking about things, and that's how it gets popular and people get interested in it. And it's the same with video games. There needs to be like a culture around the video games for it to be interesting. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like with music,
Yeah,
there
yeah.
needs to be the criticism adds to the atmosphere and makes people more interested in
Yeah,
listening to
I
music.
think so too. Like I don't think there's like this easy kind of straightforward. It's like, well, if there's a bad critique, then
Mm.
there's like a bad outcome for necessarily, right? Like it might also lead to
No,
a
it means
good
people are
outcome
talking
for
about
your
it.
own. Yeah, yeah. It might lead to a good outcome even for the artist who is being critiqued, but also just like maybe they get better, maybe other people take it on and they make something that you like even more afterwards. So I do think it's a very complex kind of system that you can't go like you can't analyze it in these really straightforward terms. That's just not going to be
No.
helpful.
Hmm.
All right. I think that was
You can't see, but
almost.
I'm nodding.
Oh, good, good. Could see if I was
Hmm.
nodding, but I'm not nodding. Well, now I was nodding. All right.
Okay.
Let me see. Da, 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 da. So there's one, no, two more things, but the one
Okay.
thing is, so it talks a bit about Anthony Fantano, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, your favorite, and
He's okay.
yeah, I wouldn't know. I don't watch critics. Um, so and one thing that he said, which I thought was kind of interesting, is that like he made this really negative review of a guy called Kanye. I don't know about that,
Oh yeah, I've heard
but
of him.
oh, you've heard of? Okay, all right. I guess I'm out of the
Mhm.
loop. But
Were you there when me and Sarah? Oh, sorry, I shouldn't say.
no, I don't know.
Cut that out.
Okay, yeah. Stop saying the N
Doesn't
word.
matter.
No. Okay.
No.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Carry on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Cut that out.
Oh well,
Um,
though you were very open about the fact that you live in Japan.
that's true. Yeah, you can just say that. We live in
So yeah,
Japan. Oh, we saw Kanye. Yeah,
and
yeah.
when I
Well, I didn't see
yeah,
Kanye,
yeah,
but
that's what I was talking about. We saw Kanye
yeah, yeah,
in
that's true.
Japan. That was my second most famous. Oh no, yeah, no, that was number one famous. That was the most famous person I saw in Japan. Number two was Noel Gallagher.
Hmm.
He was just walking around. You were there for that as well,
Yeah, I was there for that.
although you
I
didn't
saw
recognize him.
PewDiePie too.
But
He
oh,
lives
you saw
here.
PewDiePie? Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he does.
I mean, I
I think
don't.
my spotting was cooler.
He's not the most famous, but he has the most YouTube subscribers.
God.
So
Yeah.
that's something.
Carry on with your original point about Kanye.
No, it was about Fantano, and so he had a
Oh,
negative
yeah.
review. It was coincidentally about Kanye,
Oh,
and
yes.
so he got a lot of abuse, but it also gave like a lot of subscribers came. So it's kind of this double-edged sword. If you It's just like if you get the attention, you might also um well have like personal benefits from it. Which is
Well,
kind
that's
of
why it's sad.
yeah.
It's sad that the critics are having to, anonymously write their Taylor Swift reviews so they don't get sent anthrax.
Well, or
They
they
don't get
shouldn't
that.
and should
Mm.
just like survive the anthrax, but they get lots of viewers.
Yeah, but that's what you're
Yeah,
taking away from them, the ability to kind of go a little bit viral with their reviews,
that's true.
because everyone's
Mm.
having to do it anonymously.
Hmm. So how do we fix that?
Didn't say I knew how to fix it.
Mm.
Just
Yeah.
talking about it.
And then so the last thing which I thought was interesting, I'm not sure if it fits in, but there's like a little aside about how songs have to fit like this algorithm now. And
Yeah.
I think it's also in the Fantano part. Um,
Hmm.
and I mean, I don't know if it really overlaps with the criticism part, but I guess it makes like a lot of the songs. Well, it's interesting because like the author says like, well, this doesn't mean that there need to be bad songs. Well, I guess Fantano says like, no, it means they they will be bad if they have to fit this kind of stupid algorithm. Um, what were you thinking about that?
I think maybe it's relevant because it's a way, the TikTok algorithm is a way to kind of bypass traditional traditional like avenues of getting popular, and maybe one
Mm,
of them
mm.
in the past, a good review from a big critic would be more important than it currently is, whereas now going a bit viral is the big thing that's going to get you noticed.
That's
So
true. That's
it's
true,
kind of a
probably.
way. Mm.
Like, I mean, do you think that like any critics really command much of a influence anymore?
Anthony Fantano
Is that
does.
he's the one? Like, you think if he
Yeah, I
says
think so.
something is
Pretty
good,
pretty
all of his
much. I mean,
parasocial
even
people
then,
are like,
he's not that influential.
yeah,
There was a big story recently. I think I don't know if he was a film critic or a music critic, but somebody who was a very popular critic was let go from Rolling Stone,
okay.
and this was one of the things where everybody was like, when this happened, there was the general outcry of like, criticism is dead, and this is proof of that.
And Rolling Stone killed it.
Yeah, by firing this guy. I think he was very critically. Oh, here we go.
He was
Um,
he was critically acclaimed critic.
a critic, yeah, no, he literally was, I think, a very critically acclaimed critic when people were still kind of, tastemakers or whatever. But that's less of a thing now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's why I'm also. I think it's just like lost a lot of its power, and I guess you're right. It probably is partly the algorithm, especially with music, right? Like, you hear like stories
Yeah,
of people just not knowing what they're listening to because all they're listening to is Spotify playlists.
yeah, and sometimes it's just AI now as well.
Yeah, that's on top of it.
I mean, that's a big thing that people have been talking about for like 2 decades. It's like the death of the album and how people don't listen to albums anymore.
Which is
I'm not
kind
sure
of sad.
how much I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, you think it's not really a thing?
I think for certain, there's still this kind of album rollout hype that goes on. Whether people actually listen to the entire album is debatable, but people are definitely interested in albums and,
That's true.
people like Taylor Swift, her big album rollout and her eras or whatever crap, you know? There's still some interest in that.
I mean, I mean, it's still a marketing thing for sure, and like
Yeah.
artists do usually uh what is it, collect their music for like an album release. Although
And a
like
lot of the times now, the way
Hmm?
they do it is they kind of have an aesthetic for the album they're gonna release,
Yeah,
like a theme, and that's the way
yeah,
they sell it.
yeah. Which does make sense. I mean, this is a good way to maybe collect your artistic desires in one thing. I mean, I do sometimes see
Yeah.
now, like especially I quite like Rustin Kelly, and he's just been like releasing songs all the time. Every couple of months, you get a new one, but he still does an album anyways. He just came out with a new album a week ago.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, yeah, it's good.
Rustin Kelly.
Should listen to it more though.
Oh, I
But
should yeah, I should
but still,
download
like
that.
every few months, there's like a new song anyways, which is not tied to an album, and it just like appears on my Apple Music.
Typing in Rustin Kelly, seeing the
Good.
new album.
But what do the critics say? That's the real question.
Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody cares anymore.
Unless they say a good thing, then that's good.
Mm. I think maybe in terms of criticism, Pitchfork is still a thing, but it's almost been memeified at this point. Pitchfork.
Memeified in what way?
People don't take it entirely
I see.
seriously.
Okay.
It's more, oh, look at this stupid thing Pitchfork said. But people still reading it,
Oh,
even if
that's
it's
good.
to say it's dumb. Hmm.
I know. I think this is the second time in my life I'm on the Pitchfork website.
I look at Pitchfork occasionally. I kind of class them in the same category as something like NME. A lot of the times, if NME doesn't like something, it's actually quite good. They're like contrarians.
Yeah. Nico Case. Interesting.
Nico Case is a new album?
Yeah, I think so.
Listen to that.
Very interesting. Ah, my internet is slow. Anyways, have we completely and sufficiently discussed the state of modern art criticism?
I think we have. I think
Nice.
our last podcast was a bit more succinct,
Yeah,
you know?
this
I
one
think so. It
this one really is
was a
more
bit
more
more
broad, really pulls people in.
no,
Oh, the
I
opposite of that.
think too broad.
Too broad. Well, we'll see.
We got
I mean, the
we
thing
got a
is,
little bit
I feel
loosey
like
goosey there with it.
I feel like the topic is also like the George R. R. Martin topic. People like to uh, Google that guy's name and then find people talking about him.
Talking about it.
Yeah.
Mm. We're a
Maybe
bit
we
late to
need
the
to
party with this one.
yeah, maybe we need to put Anthony Fantano in the title.
Yeah, that's true. What other
So is this
podcasts have
pitch?
you got coming out?
I have nothing. I've not been recording none.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not on top of my game no more.
Oh dear. Okay.
Big Thief interview. Oh,
Oh,
I know some of these songs. Some of these bands. I also might know some of these songs. It feels so old internet.
Pitchfork?
Yeah, a website. I haven't been on a
Yeah.
website in years.
You're missing out. I like a good website.
Big Thief's new album Double Infinity. Wasn't it ages ago?
I think so. They're probably just getting the interview though.
Hmm. You should make a new album. I want to listen to it.
Yeah, I should get on that. Oh, I actually listened to an album based on a Pitchfork review.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was
Oh
by somebody
no.
called James K. It was pretty good.
James K.
Mhm.
Okay. I've not heard of him.
I
Now, oh, this
enjoyed it.
is the Double Infinity is actually like it just came out this month.
Oh,
Interesting.
Big T.
That makes a lot of
Maybe it's
sense.
like a compilation type thing, if you already know some of
No,
their
I
songs.
think this is a 6 studio album. I think
Oh.
I just got confused. I don't know why.
Oh,
You know how it
I'll
is sometimes.
download that as well. Yeah, too much going on. Big T. Okay, I think we're all done, are we?
Yeah. Okay. Farewell
Good
then.
stuff.
I
Farewell.
didn't even ask who you are this time. Anyways,
I'm Ruth.
and
Didn't even ask
I,
you.
it's my usually my signing starting thing, but I don't know. Maybe I'm too
Oh
tired. I'm
yeah.
still jet lagged.
Do it in the
All right.
description.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, bye.
Bye.